Yo guys, what is up? It is James. Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing top 5 things that need to happen in PvP. So if you don't know what's been going on, allow me to catch you up to speed. So KingsIsle, in their recent producer's letter or whatever it was, stated that they were probably going to recreate PvP from the ground up. So essentially what this means is that we could be getting an entirely new PvP system, or we could be getting like a severely tweaked version of the one we already have. But they're now hearing our voices. So I think it's time to kind of guide them in the right direction before they just release this whole big thing that's like, hey, we remade PvP, here it is. And we're just like, yo, like, you changed everything. Like, I can't, I don't like this. Go back! So here are the top 5 things, in my opinion, that I think needs to happen to PvP pretty much before anything else. Like, anything else is like, you know, sprinkles on the ice cream. But this needs to be the flavor of the ice cream that we're eating, bro. Alright, so let's just get right into it. Starting off, we actually have a pretty big one. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with spells. So a lot of you guys know that there are a ton of spells that are allowed in PvP, and I'm not talking about Shadow, alright? I'm getting into that later on in the video, alright, bro? Don't even worry about it, right? But there are a lot of spells that just, it's kind of like KingsIsle said in their producer's letter. There are a lot of things that are PvE, that are good for PvE, but don't translate well to PvP. And they understand that a lot of players, you know, have outcries about that because they're just unfair. They're not fit for PvP. There's one main gripe that I have with 3 cards that are commonly used in PvP and need to get nerfed. Maybe not into the ground, but need to have PvP, just PvP nerfs made to them, because they're not really fair for PvP. You know what I mean? Like, players spam them. It's just unfair. So the first of the 3 cards that I have a gripe with is Guardian Spirit, and the main reason I have a gripe with this card is because people spam it at max, at legend, and at grand. You know, it's and wait, did I say magus, grand, max, and legendary? Those are like the 4 main kind of levels of PvP, right? People spam it, and it mainly comes from the wand that is dropped from, what is it, the Hydra Horde pack or whatever? I don't care where it drops from. The spell is ridiculous. At max, you have it trained, so you don't even have to worry about having the wand. But it's ridiculous because you can crit on it. Your healing in and out affects the card, and on top of that, Sanctuary also affects it. So here's what I think needs to happen to that card in specific. One of 2 things needs to happen, right? The card either straight out needs to get banned from PvP, which is kind of the more serious way of going about it. I don't really think the card should be banned from PvP, but if my other suggestion doesn't work, then yeah, just straight up ban the card, because it's literally like a second life. It's kind of ridiculous. But the more humane thing that I think needs to be done to the card is literally have healing in and out not affect the card. Make it non-enchantable. I'm pretty sure it can't even be enchanted, so that's not even a thing. Have Sanctuary not affect it. So if they put up Sanctuary, it doesn't affect how much health they get back. Doom can still affect it because it's Doom and Gloom, but Sanctuary, like 60% or 50% more health onto like a second life. That's just, come on, that's ridiculous, bro. And then the third thing is, make it not crittable, because all of those 3 things are like enabled right now for the card, and it makes it so unfair, bro. Seriously, it's ridiculous. So that's just one of the cards. The other card is probably the most controversial in all of like Wizard101 PvP, and that happens to be Lore Master. So a lot of you are saying this card should be banned, this card should be 5 pips. Here's my 2 cents on it, alright? I don't believe the card should be banned. Specifically, well, let me say this first. I don't think it should be banned, and I don't think it should be 5 pips. Reason being is because Balance does not have any other good hits. And if KingsIsle were to take these top 5 things in this video and kind of fix or implement these fixes in PvP, then here's what I think should happen to Lore Master. I don't think it should be banned. I don't think it should be 5 pips. Instead, I should think it should be the complete same, except the weakness is 15%. Or, I mean, you could even keep it 20%, right? Because it's not like it's a tower shield. And on top of that, it's already a nerfed version of weakness. So, you know, like normal weakness is what, 25? And then TC weakness is like 35. So you don't really need to nerf the weakness, but if you want to, if it's that much of a problem, 15%. I don't think you should nerf it any more than 15%. However, the mantle, I think, is the biggest problem here with this spell. 35, like, you know, at legendary, which is the closest thing you're gonna get to pre-Darkmoor PvP, the highest accuracy like any school can get, I think it's like fire, can get like almost 40% accuracy. This is almost all of your accuracy jewels and all of the gear from your accuracy, or that give accuracy, taken away, and it's ridiculous. So I would say the weakness should be 20 and the mantle should be 20 as well. So that's a 15% reduction on the mantle. I think that's fair. I don't think 5 pips or taking the card away from PvP is fair to balance, because balance, you know, if balance doesn't have any shadow hits like Gaze of Fate or that one Polaris spell and Shrike, balance can't really do anything. They already nerfed Judge. Hydra is crap. You know, like Chimera is not much better than Hydra. Balance doesn't really have any other good cards, and on top of that, you have to farm Lore Master or craft it. So it's not like you train the spell, you know what I mean? But that's just my 2 cents on it. I think it should have a 20 and 20% for both the debuffs. Damage stays the same, pip cost stays the same, and yeah, so that's just Lore Master. So the third and final spell that I have a gripe with, it's gotta be Ifrit. I mean, okay, so listen, I don't understand what Kingsaw was thinking when they dropped Celestia and was like, you know what? We're going to make the level 58 spell for fire literally negate almost all of your damage. Like, literally almost all of it. It does almost 1,000 damage, right? 895. Enchanted, that's doing well over 1,000. And fires nowadays, you know, past level like 60, have almost 110 damage. Right, like if you're well equipped or whatever, you're pay to win. You have like really good damage, really good pierce, right? Especially at max. Like there was this one max fire I saw the other day with like 170 damage and like 40 pierce, bro. I was like, what the heck? But anyways, dude, 90% weakness. Come on, bro. That's all of that's your whole Wiz career down the drain if you got slapped with this card, dude. Not like, I don't know what they were thinking when they let the 90% weakness slide, and it's still in the game. I'm saying 75%. If not, go 65. This thing has to be nerfed, bro. It's 8 pips. It's 4 power pips, bro. And you can literally end somebody's whole, just like as soon as you get slapped with the Ifrit sword, you're logged off and banned from the game. And it's like, bro, what? And if this spell crits on you? God, bro. Alright, well, continuing on with the video, here at number 2, we have Shadow Pips and Shadow Spells. Just in general, because both of them are just equally as bad. Like, they both spill bad news. So, just Shadow Spells in general, dude. They're overpowered. It's ridiculous. If someone happens to get a Shadow Pip and you don't, like, you're dead. You know, at max PvP, it's pretty much like, if you don't get a Shadow, you lose the game. Someone gets like 2 shads before you get 1. You just got BS'd. It's ridiculous. It honestly is. I think Shadow Pips and Shadow Spells should just be no PvP, or straight up just removed out of PvP. Like, don't even have the Shadow Pip gauge show up in PvP, or just straight up make the spells no PvP. This includes all Shadow transformations. This includes all Shadow spells. Any spell that has to use a Shadow Pip, ban it from PvP. See what happens. We might like it. We don't know. We have no idea, other than people hosting tournaments and making rules saying, you know, no Shadow spells. We have no actual idea what PvP would be like if Shadow spells were banned. You know, so I think they should be banned. And then when that test roam drops, we'll test it out and we'll give Kings Out our feedback. Like, hey, yeah, keep this in the game. Or, you know, no, I think you should keep shadow spells in the game, but I think you should probably nerf the shadow transformations, or, you know, we're going to give our feedback on it. But I just think they should be removed, you know, because they're too overpowered and it's too much RNG. Alright, so the third thing that I want to mention in this video for the top 5 things that need to happen to PvP is going to have to be resist. People love, like, to set in this game, and if you don't know what that means, it pretty much means they either stash in a bunch of shields to your school, they put in a bunch of dispels to your school. Even though dispel shield is still a thing, people still do that. Even if they're not your school and can't train, you know, the dispel for 0 pips, they'll still go get it. If your spell is good or they know that they're going to get you, they're going to put it in their deck. And then on top of that, people love to have pets that just give a ridiculous amount of resist to your school. And if you're doing a tournament and this person knows that they're getting you, they're going to equip that pet, they're going to go to the bazaar, they're going to buy a bunch of bazaar gear that gives ridiculous resist to your school. And if they're the same school as you and they can train that dispel for 0 pips, or they can train that set shield in the fairgrounds for 0 pips, the gear that has a lot of resist to that school that you are also as well, gives damage to them as well. So now they have a bunch of resist to you and they have a bunch of damage to their school, and that's pretty much all they need to shut you down. And at max level, the most pierce you're gonna get with decent stats is around like 30. Like, I would say like mid 30s, so like high 30s, but then you're probably sacrificing something else, right? But just take a look at this pet right here. I went and specifically seeked out this pet, and anybody can hatch with this pet. It's in the kiosk. Spell proof, spell defying, storm ward, storm away, and then it has mighty to boost the rest of the stats. So your proof is 11, your defy is 6, your storm ward is 17, your storm away is 6, and then mighty, you know, as I said before, boost everything. So if I were to socket the middle storm resist, I'm not sure what it is. It's like storm, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but if I were to socket that jewel to this pet, which is pretty easy to craft, you know, bam, bam, boom, I now have 100 and something storm resist. What? Why? And then I'm going to go and get you in a tournament and completely just shut you down to the point where you do no damage to me, even with 30 resist? I can just go get a bunch of bazaar gear. And then, what? Flee! Flee! At that point, you're doing nothing, bro. You're literally doing nothing. You have to infoul or strike to do anything. So if we're gonna remove shadow pips, which they have to do something with shadow pips, bro. They're not just gonna keep it in the rebuild version of PvP. Do something to resist, because if you take out strike, you take out shadow hits, resist is just gonna become a major factor because there's no way of combating it. So you need to find a way to cap resist at, I want to say 60 or 65, like just. Like, take your pick. 5% more resist to your class as a max cap isn't going to do anything. You know what I mean? But 65 or 66. So if you go in a tournament or a ranked match with 80 resist, no. Your 80 resist instantly gets turned into 60 or instantly gets turned into 65. Regardless of what your pet stats say, what your pet talents say, regardless of what your book says you have before you go into a match. It is going to be reduced to 60 or 65, and if you don't have 65 resist, cool, you're not being a tryhard. But if you are going to be a tryhard, there needs to be some kind of system to combat that, because that just promotes having a bunch of resist just to win a match instead of actually just playing the game normally with decent resist and decent damage, or however you want to build your character stats. All right, so the fourth thing in this top 5, dude, I'm gonna say it has to be going first and going second. In ranked PvP. It is such a significant thing, especially nowadays where shadow pips are obviously a thing. If I pull first against you and I have all the damage, all the pierce, decent resist, all of that stuff, really good stats, you have really good stats as well, but all of that gets shut down when I pull first and I get a shadow pip and I pull a shadow strike and you're basically done. Like there's no winning. Unless you have mass resist to my class, there's absolutely no way you are winning. If my deck aligns and I pull a Shadow Pip, I have a Strike, or I have a Shadow Hit in my hand, what are you doing? You can't shield. You're second. You're dead. So, like, they either need to implement a mode or just straight up be like, hey, Test Realm, we changed ranked. It's turn-based now. How do you like it? And then we'll obviously try it out and be like, hey, we like it, or hey, we don't. You know, it's Test Realm. Going first literally decides what, like 55 or 65% of the outcome of the match. It's ridiculous. And the last thing on this top 5 is level gaps. And by that, I mean, dude, I'm talking about zero heroes, dude. I'm talking about zero heroes. I'm talking about legendaries getting archmages. I'm talking about maguses getting grandmasters. I'm talking about the many like messed up things that should not be happening in PvP currently with this game. There are max levels who will literally go into ranked and flee on purpose just to get to 0 rank, and then they'll go into ranked with this perfect max level setup or perfect level 100 setup where they have a bunch of pierce, a bunch of damage, really good pet, all that jazz, and their goal is to get lower levels who are doing PvP and just poop on them. Like, how is that any fun to the person who's a lower level, who's just trying to do regular PvP, who doesn't want to deal with Shadow Pit bullcrap and all that, and they're getting pooped on by somebody with low rank who thinks it's funny to literally like outstat you or out health you or out damage you, you know, outspell you even. It's ridiculous, bro. It should be 15 up and 15 down. A level 50 should only be able to get a level 65 and a level 35. A 110 should only be able to get a level 125 and a level 95. Like, because there aren't many level 90s PvPing anyway around level 95. They're all going to obviously go to 100. But what I'm saying is a level 60 or a level 50 should not be getting someone who decides that it's fun to lose all of their rank and then go trash people's ranks of a lower level. It's ridiculous, and this game allows it right now, and I see it and I'm just kind of like, how is that fun? Like, yeah, it's funny to you, but it doesn't promote good game vibes. It doesn't make you say, hey, yeah, I want to go and enter ranked and get a 0 hero, or somebody who's a high level that has low rank so that they can, you know, mess up my day and then I'm done playing this game forever. That's how it makes people feel. And it's ridiculous, and it needs to be fixed. So yeah, that's number 5, and I think it's a pretty strong one because like quite a few people do it. So that is pretty much going to conclude the video. These have been the top 5 things, in my opinion, that I think should be implemented in the test realm eventually when they do decide to either remake PvP or severely tweak it. But a lot of things need to happen for sure, because there's a lot of things that are unfair at any level. And it needs to be changed. So I'm just glad that something is happening to PvP. I do hope that they do continue to listen to our feedback. Let us steer them in the right direction, and hopefully, you know, we can have a PvP system that we can all be like, you know what, this is all right. I can look forward to logging on and playing PvP right now. So before I end off the video, I just want to say some honorable mentions that I did not count as the top 5 things that need to happen are A, boosting, because literally there's like a level 2 on the leaderboards right now with ridiculous rank. There's also like a level 60 or level 50 that has like 6,000 rank. Like, come on, bro, that's boosted as hell. Don't tell me that's not boosted. So boosting is still a problem in PvP. And then the other thing is maybe start giving good block percents or good block stats on max level gear, and maybe tweak the lower level gear. Not like super low level obviously, but you know, around level 60, 70, 80 and 90, you know, maybe go back and give those pieces of gear you know, better block, because people are still complaining about critical, even though critical it's gotten nerfed. It's not like 2 times the damage anymore. It's like 1.3 or 1.5. But I don't really think KingsIsle is going to go back and tweak stats on, you know, past gear. So if you are going to release a new dungeon, or you are going to add, you know, better gear than Darkmoor gear, or whatever is the best max gear right now, because I don't really do max PvP all that much, just start giving the new gear that has dropped from the newer dungeons, have better block. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. So if you did enjoy, or you do think that my opinions are pretty good, you want to see this happen in the next test realm, slap a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, tell your friends about this video because they might share the same opinions with me. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace!